Welcome back. We continue our study in the book of the law. These be the words, otherwise known as Deuteronomy. These be the words, the book of the law. Welcome back, everyone. And we're going to Deuteronomy chapter 25. Deuteronomy chapter 25. And put the title of last section. I didn't know we were going to go there yet, but we're definitely going there. The royal seed. The title is the royal seed. This is the royal seed part 2. So in Deuteronomy chapter 25, let's look at this. Deuteronomy chapter 25. And let's begin at verse 5. Now, before we read it, it's important that we understand the point of the law. Without even looking at that, let me ask you. This is the book of Yah's law. What is the point of Yah's law? What is the point? That's right, to be Kadash. That's right, to be holy, sanctified, set apart, to be like the Father. That's the point, right? Overall, that's what he's trying to get from us. He's trying to develop us into reflections of himself. As Messiah was the reflection of the Father, being the Father's word made flesh. So Messiah is being used on our behalf to cause us to be Father's righteousness. Okay? And so whenever you're studying, like we looked at the part, on the last part, we looked at thou shalt not muzzle the ox that treadeth out the corn. And then Paul explained, principle is you should earn. You earn when you work. You should get what you earned. The ox is treading out corn, grinding the corn in the millstone into flour. He should be able to eat of the corn because he's working in corn, right? So he's saying same with, he said, ministers or people that are farmers or whatever you do, you should get fruits or wages from what you do. That's the point here. It wasn't just for the ox itself. It was the principle of the thing, right? And that's always with the Most High. What's the principle? So here we're going to talk about when a husband dies and leaves a widow in Israel. Okay, this is Deuteronomy chapter 25, beginning at verse 5 and going down to verse 5, from verse 5 to verse 10. Very important here. Deuteronomy chapter 25, from verse 5 to verse 10. If brethren dwell together and one of them die and have no child, the wife of the dead shall not marry without unto a stranger. Her husband's brother shall go in unto her and take her to him to wife and perform the duty of an husband's brother unto her. And it shall be that the firstborn which she beareth shall succeed in the name of his brother, which is dead, that his name be not put out of Israel. And if the man like not to take his brother's wife, then let his brother's wife go up to the gate unto the elders and say, my husband's brother refuses to raise up unto his brother a name in Israel. He will not perform the duty of my husband's brother. Then the elders of this city shall call him and speak unto him. And if he stand to it and say, I like not to take her, then shall his brother's wife come unto him in the presence of the elders and loose his shoe from off his foot and spit in his face, and shall answer and say, so shall it be done unto the man that will not build up his brother's house. And his name shall be called in Israel the house of him that hath his shoe loosed. Now, what's the principle here? Two principles. The main principle is in verse 6, that his name be not put out of Israel. So can I say this without leaving the scripture? Can I say this is nation building? Y'all understand that? Testing 1, 2, 3. This is nation building. That his name be not put out of Israel. You're raising up seed and you're building the nation. Does that make sense, brethren? So this is about nation building. Also, in the beginning of it, in verse 5, if brethren dwell together and one of them die and have no child, the wife of the dead shall not marry without unto a stranger. So she shouldn't marry outside of Israel, because the goal is for Israel to be the seed, right? The promise is to Abraham's seed. So you want to keep the seed in Israel, and you want to keep the name of the brothers alive to go forward, hopefully have a son. We see this illustrated in the book of Ruth. In Ruth, we see Boaz do this very thing. Let's take a look in Ruth chapter 4. Ruth chapter 4. So we know that Ruth married an Israelite and her husband died. They were from Judah. And they came back from the land of Moab. And Naomi came back with Ruth. Remember, you know the story. But Ruth's husband had died. Okay? So what happened? Ruth chapter 4, beginning at verse 1 down to verse 8. Actually, from verse 1 down to verse 9. Actually, I'm going to read from verse 1 down to verse 12. Sorry about that. I'm going to read from 1 to 12. Okay. Then went Boaz up to the gate and sat him down there. And behold, the kinsman of whom Boaz spake came by, and to whom he said, Ho, such a one, turn aside, sit down here, and turn aside, and sat down. He turned aside and sat down. And he took 10 men of the elders of the city and said, Sit ye down here. And they sat down. So he's getting 2 or 3 witnesses, right? He's got an issue, and he's bringing 2 or 3 witnesses. So he had 10 men, and he had the relative to Ruth's husband. Okay. And he said unto the kinsman Naomi, that is come again out of the country of Moab, selleth a parcel of land which was our brother Elimelech. Elimelech. So Elimelech had land in Israel, and Ruth was going to sell it because he died. That was the son. He died. Verse 4. And I thought to advertise thee, saying, Buy it before the inhabitants and before the elders of my people. If thou wilt redeem it, redeem it. But if thou wilt not redeem it, tell me that I may know. For there is none to redeem it beside thee, and I am after thee. And he said, I will redeem it. So the closer relative to Ruth's husband had first dibs on his land. He said, I'll take the land. Okay, watch Boaz bring the surprise to him, though. Verse 5. Then Boaz said, What day thou buyest the field of the hand of Naomi, thou must buy it also of Ruth, the Moabitess, the wife of the dead, to raise up the name of the dead upon his inheritance. So this relative was going to inherit Elimelech's land, but he had also to inherit Elimelech's wife and raise up seed to Elimelech in Israel. You follow me so far? So Elimelech owned the land. They went to Moab because it was a famine. Elimelech died there, came back. So you got Ruth and Naomi. And so Naomi had this land, but no man for the land. And nobody's going to marry Naomi. She's too old. But the land also belonged to Ruth. So he said, if you want the land, the man said, oh, yeah, I want the land. He said, okay, you get the land, but you also got to raise up seed to Elimelech through Ruth. That was his wife. Okay. Verse 6. And the kinsman said, I cannot redeem it for myself, lest I mar my own inheritance. Redeem thou my right to thyself, for I cannot redeem it. So when it came to Ruth, he's like, no, I'm not wanting to take her to be my wife. I'll mess myself up. No. So now, verse 7, now this was the manner in former time in Israel concerning redeeming, concerning changing. For to confirm all things, a man plucked off his shoe. Isn't that what we just read in Deuteronomy? Take off his shoe. Man plucked off his shoe and gave it to his neighbor. And this was a testimony. So he plucked off the shoe and was handing it to, he plucked off his shoe and was giving it to Boaz. Therefore the kinsman said unto Boaz, buy it for thee. So he drew off his shoe. And Boaz said unto the elders and unto all the people, ye are witnesses this day that I have bought all that was Elimelech's and all that was Chilion's and Mahon's in the hand of Naomi, Moreover, Ruth the Moabitess, the wife of Mahlon, have I purchased to be my wife, to raise up the name of the dead upon his inheritance, that the name of the dead be not cut off from among his brethren, and from the gate of his place. Ye are witnesses this day. And all the people that were in the gate and the elders said, we are witnesses. Yahweh make this woman that is come unto thy house like Rachel and like Leah, which two did build the house of Israel. Thou also, and do thou worthily in Ephratah, and be famous in Bethlehem. And let thy house be like the house of Pharez, whom Tamar bare unto Judah, and of the seed which Yahweh shall give thee of this young woman. Verse 13. So Boaz took Ruth, and she was his wife, and he went in unto her, and Yahweh gave her conception, and she bare a son. That son was really Mahlon's son that he bore up unto her for the nation, the building of the nation. Now, right now, how does that fit with us today? How does that fit with us today? Well, first of all, the majority of us don't even know who we are. Right? I mean, then they were in the land, yet they had not left the land. They knew who their tribe was. They knew who the kinsman was. See, he knew who the kinsman was, who the tribe was, and they were raising up seed to the dead. Remember, the elders came to Messiah and brought up the same situation. Remember this? In Matthew. I think it was Matthew chapter 19, if I'm not mistaken. Let's take a look. Matthew, I think it was chapter 19. Matthew chapter 19. Yeah, Matthew chapter 19, beginning at verse, let's see. Yeah, that wasn't 19. It wasn't 19. I think it was 18. Man, I can't find it. I thought it was 19. But that was about divorce. That wasn't necessarily about raising up the seed. That wasn't it. Hold on. Man, I can't find it now. It was because he was rebuking them because they didn't know about they didn't believe in the resurrection. And he said, they don't marry and give in marriage. He was saying they don't marry and give in marriage like they do here. In other words, you don't need to marry the brother to raise up seed because the brother will be resurrected and he'll have his wife. So Mahlon will be resurrected and have his wife, Ruth. Right? And the son Boaz had with her, the first son, that was for Mahlon. That was Mahlon. Now, today, how does this work? We don't even know who we are today. Right? We don't know who we are. We're just awakening to who we are. Right? We're just awakening to who we are. So now, and we don't need, today in this culture, if you have a brother and the brother dies and you want to raise up a name of a seed to the brother, you could do that. But you got to understand who you are first. First thing is the awakening as to who you are. Second thing is to understand being who you are. What does that mean in terms of your nation, in terms of your people? What does it really mean? It's more of the understanding in the spirit than it is in the flesh, even though the flesh is Abraham's seed, which is also very important here. Which understand that Abraham's seed is the royal seed. Y'all get that now? Abraham's seed is the royal seed. So that's why they want the nation to be built up from Abraham's seed. Okay, but we still not understanding even who we are. Both men and women, right? We're not even understanding who we are and what that means. That's the first important thing. Who are we? They didn't want a stranger to come because stranger would have them do what? Worship other gods. Today, You know, a lot of us are married to people that worship other gods. A lot of us seek out people that worship other gods. So we don't even understand for the first part, the importance of what we're talking about here in terms of building a nation. So let me ask you a dumb question, and bear with me. What nation are we talking about? Are they talking about building up? What nation is it? Are they talking about building up? What nation is it? Are they talking about building up? What nation is it? What nation is it that they're discussing here when they're talking about building up the nation? What are they talking about? Israel. That's right. They're talking about Israel. It's Matthew 22. Yeah, I just saw it too. They're talking about Israel, right? So they're talking about building up the nation of Israel. Well, if you don't even know that you're Israel, how would you build up the nation? And even if you came to the knowledge that you are Israel, and that, what does that mean in terms of building up the nation? Is it not the knowledge first of who you are? Is it not the understanding of who you are and what that means? See, then they could focus on the seed because they knew who they were. They knew what their names was. They could tell you who their grandparents was, their great-grandparents. They can go all the way back to Abraham. They can go all the way back to Abraham. All of them could do that. They could all the way back to Abraham. But today, we don't even know. We just know we were enslaved. We knew we were enslaved, right? We knew from being enslaved and being oppressed who we are. That's how we found out. As Deuteronomy 28 is going to show us. That's how we found out who we are. And we know where we came from in terms of being stolen from the west coast of Africa. We know that. And we know we got to the west coast of Africa from the land of Israel, from fleeing the Romans. And from prior to that, even fleeing the Babylonians, fleeing the Assyrians, fleeing the Greeks, fleeing the Medes and the Persians. We know where we come from in Africa from that. We understand it. Okay. And being brought into this Western culture, that we understand. But we don't know who we are. And even that knowledge that I just shared with you, the vast majority of us don't know. Isn't that correct? The vast majority of us don't know. They don't even know that. Okay. Matthew 22, it says, verse 23, beginning at verse 23. The same day came to him the Sadducees, which say there is no resurrection, and asked him, saying, Master, Moses said, if a man die having no children, his brother shall marry his wife and raise up seed unto his brother. Now there were with us 7 brethren. And they're making this story up. There were with us 7 brethren. The first, when he had married a wife, deceased, having no issue, left his wife unto his brother. The likewise, the second also, the third unto the 7th. Last of all, the woman died. Therefore, in the resurrection, whose wife shall she be of the 7? For all had her, not understanding the resurrection, understand that the first husband is her husband. Everybody else was raising up seed to the first man. Y'all get that part? So that's what Messiah was telling them. What you talking about? The first husband is the husband. And you don't need to keep marrying on and on. You're going to be like the angels. You'll live forever. The first husband is the husband. Okay? So here in Deuteronomy, he's telling us, but see, I'm concerned, my concern is with present day. I don't want no young brothers out here saying, oh, I always thought my brother's wife was fine, man. Let me go raise up seed to my brother. And y'all know there are people that would do that, right? Y'all know that, right? Oh, let me raise up seed into my brother. Not really intending on doing anything but trying to have sex with somebody. You understand? So what's the point then? The point is to build the nation. The nation is built through the knowledge of who we are in this day and age. See, then they knew who they were. We are just learning, or should I say, relearning who we are. So the knowledge of who we are as people, the knowledge of self, is the first important knowledge, not the seed. Y'all understand that? So this is okay. And so again, also, of course, is the important principle of staying in the faith of perfection of righteousness. Staying in the faith of righteousness. That's what it says. And it go back to Deuteronomy 20:25, and it says, if brethren dwell together and one of them die and have no child, the wife of the dead shall not marry unto a stranger. In the New Testament, it would say in the Lord or in the Messiah, which means you're not going to marry outside the faith of the Father's righteousness. That's the faith, right? The faith of the Father's righteousness. You're not going to marry outside the faith of the Father's righteousness or of his godliness. You're not marrying outside of that. You're staying in the faith of the Father's righteousness. That is perfection of righteousness in the Spirit from the Father. That is obedience to his law, which is righteousness. You're going to stay in that faith. That's really what it means. So that if a sister had a husband, the husband died, that sister shouldn't just go be looking for just any man. Understand they're lonely, but really you want to pray for a man that's in the faith of righteousness. Okay. You don't want to just have any heathen man. And though people get lonely and do that, they marry heathen. That happens all the time. But if you're going to follow this word, it's not even about the seed as much as about the faith of righteousness. Okay. You can get pregnant by a man of Hebrew blood who cannot be awakened, and he'll take you to another God or help cause you to lose your faith. See what I'm saying? So it's the principle here is staying in the faith. That's the principle. Staying in the truth, raising up the seed, staying in the truth. So Ruth was coming from Moab, and Boaz was raising up the seed of Israel unto her former husband, an Israelite. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So that's the principle here. And everybody, and notice, I want you to notice what happened. He had all the witnesses bear witness that woman was going to be his woman. That was going to be his wife. And he was raising up seed to the dead. Right. And he said, you are witnesses. And they said, we are witnesses. Brethren, you know what you call that today? That's a wedding. Did you notice that? That's a wedding. That's a wedding right there. They made an agreement with witnesses. Ruth is going to be my wife. You are witnesses. Everybody said, yes, we are witnesses. Okay. And that's official. Now, if Boaz did this secretly, if he just had sex with her and he was just having sex with her because he liked to get his jollies off, that would be, he was using her as his whore. Sisters, you should know that. There must be an agreement. And there must be witnesses to the agreement. This is my man. This is my woman. You don't have to say, this is my wife, because they have concubines, which we call today. It's not, people use concubines in negative term. It's girlfriend and boyfriend. That's what it is. And this is my girlfriend. This is my boyfriend in front of witnesses. That's so-and-so's girlfriend. That's so-and-so's boyfriend. People know that to this day, don't they? Like when so-and-so, you going with somebody, don't you know, all your friends know that's your woman. So that if this woman decided she wanted to have sex with you and you know she's going with your boy, you have a choice to make. That's his woman. That's not yours. That's his woman. Okay. You know, the song, who did the song Backstabbers? Backstabbers is about dudes that is fiending on brother's woman. He has a woman and they keep coming over his house when he's not there, trying to get with his woman. Those are whoremongers. And if she has sex with them, she's a whore, according to the Bible. But you smile in your face all the time. They want to take your place. And they come over your house and they act like they're your friends, but they really just want your woman. See, so so Boaz, in front of all the people, said, I'm taking his land and I'm taking his woman. I'm raising up seed to this. She's going to be mine now. The land is mine and that woman is mine. In front of witnesses. That's a wedding right there. The OJ, was it OJ? I said the Spinners. It was OJ. I get them confused, OJs, because there's a similar song by the Spinners. I forgot what it was called. Yeah, it's a similar song. There's another song about getting pat on your back and all that. Take my advice, you know, watch the pat on the back. That's another, it's a similar song. It's from the Spinners. Then there's the OJ. Smile on your face all the time. They want to take your place. That one, yeah. That one, they really want the woman. They try to get my man's woman. All the time they scheming on his woman. And he said, low down, dirty. Low down, dirty dudes coming by my house when I'm not even there. Trying to see my woman. That's why your sisters don't be letting males come in your house because they're your man's friend. If they really his friend, they wouldn't be coming in your house with him not there. That's exactly right, Cherokee Indian. That's right. Trying to take Bathsheba is exactly right. So, but that's the point, though. So it's in front of witnesses, and everybody, even you. So I just explained to you what everybody understands, even to this day. You going with so and so? Yeah, that's my man. You going with so? Yeah, that's my woman. Okay, your boys know, and who are your boys? There's your witnesses. Who's your friends? They're all your witnesses. No, Boaz said he told all else, come over here, come over here, come over here, and they had 10 guys sit there with the kinsmen. And he said, you are all witnesses. And they said, we are witnesses. Naomi's now your woman. I mean, Ruth is now your woman. That land is now yours. You have purchased it. That's right. That's right. If you ain't home, wait in your car outside till I get there. Don't come inside. My woman is in there. And she would know. The sister would know. No, you can't come in here. He's not here. Well, can I wait inside? No, you can't. You can wait outside till he gets home. And if he ain't coming home, you can't wait here at all. You might as well leave. He ain't gonna be home till later. So you need to leave. And she shouldn't have to tell a true brother that. He should know. The minute she said he's not home, okay, I'll see you. Right? But the brother up to no good, his brother's up to no good. Right? We know that. So, but the point is, there's witnesses. There's witnesses to what's going on. Witnesses, whether you boyfriend and girlfriend, whether you husband and wife, there's witnesses. There's witnesses to that. Yeah. Now we going back in time, right? Old Motown. Now we going back in time. But y'all know what I'm saying. So there's witnesses to these important situations in terms of man and wife. And what the difference between a concubine and a wife? The Bible says, let the redeemed of Yahweh say so. So if a man stands up and says, this is going to be my wife, that means she's your ace boom. That means she and you are not only, she not only you helping take care of her, you promising to provide for her. She's promising to be your virtuous woman above rubies. Price above rubies. She's promising to be your helpmeet. Whereas the girlfriend, she might have her own place. She might have her own place. You may not even be living with the girlfriend, right? A lot of brothers don't live with the girlfriend, but that's the girlfriend, and that's his woman, and everybody know that's her man. Okay, they may not even be living together. She's providing for herself. I mean, he might help her, but she's exclusive to him. If she wasn't, she wouldn't be no concubine. She'd be something else, right? Right? And in these day and age, the expectation of the man from that woman is that he's exclusive to me in this day and age, even though in the Bible, he can have more than one. But y'all know and I know sisters ain't going for that. Not in America, anyway. Not in the developed nations. They might go for it in Africa, but they ain't going for it here. They might go for it in the Middle East and Africa. They might go for it, but they ain't going for that here. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. Most countries, they ain't going for it. Most countries, they ain't going for it. So the expectation is you exclusive too. Exactly. The expectation is you exclusive as well. So, so that's the expectation, and everybody makes that public, right? If you seeing her secretly, yeah, we're gonna have a yes, we will. Listen, when you with y'all has joined together, let not man put asunder. So if you have a helpmeet given to you here, she's your helpmeet forever, here and beyond. That's why Messiah said, you guys don't know the resurrection of the power of Yahweh. There ain't no married and giving in marriage. In other words, after that first husband died, that's the man that's going to be the husband when they get resurrected. And he's going to be resurrected. And that's going to be his wife. Because everybody else was raising seed up to him. Right? So Boaz was raising seed up to Mahlon and Abimelech. They were raising seed. Abimelech was Naomi's husband. And they had sons. They had Mahlon, I forgot the other one's name. They had 2 sons, and they were raising up seed to Mahlon. That's who was Ruth's husband. That first son is Mahlon's. So whatever his name is, that first son's named Mahlon after that one. That's Mahlon's son. You understand? So, yeah. Yeah, so there you go. Okay, there you go. So, praise the Most High. So, yes. Well, I'm gonna leave you alone, man. I'm gonna leave you alone. Gosh. Okay, so you see in verse 10 then, and his name shall be called in Israel the house of him that hath his shoe loose, because he refused to build up the nation. Okay, so in Boaz's case, he brought the right to build up the nation with Ruth, because he bought the right of the inheritance from her dead husband, and the second in kin didn't want it. Okay, that's right. But that's, praise the Most High. Also shows us there's a principle. I mean, it's more than just lust, right? There's a principle involved, and the principle is to do the right thing by the dead man. The principle involved. Right. Well, do angels die? Hellfire is prepared for the devil and his angels, because they're going to die. But angels were not created to die. That's why he says they're going to be like angels. Also, in another place in Isaiah, it says that the life of my people is going to be like the life of a tree, right? Which that he just expressing different ways of saying you're going to live forever. You're not going to die. Nobody's going to die. There's no more death. And again, Revelation said there's no death, no sickness, no disease. So the first person, when it says as the angels, the first person is going to be the person that lives forever, and that's his wife. Forever. Okay, that's his wife forever. It says in Isaiah chapter 65, verse 21. Watch this. Isaiah 65, verse 21 and 22 and 23. Watch this. This is the kingdom now. Isaiah 65, 21, 22, 23. What does it say? And they shall build houses and inhabit them, and they shall plant vineyards and eat the fruit of them. They shall not build and another inhabit, neither they shall not plant and another eat. For as the days of a tree are the days of my people, and mine elect shall long enjoy the work of their hands, and they shall not labor in vain, nor bring forth for trouble, for they are the seed of the blessed of Yahweh, and their offspring with them. Right? So it says that. So when he says angels, it doesn't mean that angels don't have partners. It just means angels are going to last forever. They're going to live forever. Angels are going to live forever and will be like that, living forever. Remember, in his original state, the Bible says Adam was made how? A little lower than the angels. Isn't that right? The Bible says that in Psalm 8. In his original state, in his sinless state, Adam was made a little lower than the angels, which tells you what? What does that tell you? That eventually, if Adam had was faithful to live 1,000 years, he might have been like an angel. Right. Psalm 8, let's read Psalm 8 from verse 1 down to verse 6. Psalm 8 from verse 1 to 6. And Yahweh our master, Yahweh our master, how excellent is thy name in all the earth, who has set thy glory above the heavens. Out of the mouths of babes and sucklings hast thou ordained strength because of thine enemies, that thou mightest still the enemy and be the avenger. When I consider thy heavens, the work of thy fingers, and the moon and the stars, which thou hast ordained, what is man that thou art mindful of him? And the son of man that thou visitest him? For thou hast made him a little lower than the angels, and hast crowned him with glory and honor, and madest him to have dominion over the works of thy hands, that thou hast put all things under his feet. So he made Adam a little lower than the angels. And Messiah said, in the resurrection, we shall be as the angels. So we grow up into what he ordained us to originally be, which Adam never apparently got to because he sinned. Does that make sense? So he made Adam a little lower than the angels, and the angels are a different level. But did Adam and Eve have the ability to make children? Yes, obviously they did. That's right. See, Most High's word is beautiful, man. Beautiful. Okay. Now, here's another step in understanding the value of the royal seed. In Deuteronomy chapter 25, verse 11 and 12. Deuteronomy chapter 25, verse 11 and 12. Another principle of the royalty of the seed of Israel. Deuteronomy chapter 25, verse 11 and 12. When men strive together one with another, and the wife of the one draweth near to deliver her husband out of the hand of him that smiteth him, and put forth her hand, and taketh him by the secrets, then thou shalt cut off her hand. Thine eye shall not pity her. That sounds rough, doesn't it? So she's protecting her husband from another Israelite that's beating his behind. And she grabs him by the gonads. He said, cut off her hand. What's the principle here? This is the royal seed. These are the family jewels. This is part of building the nations. This is not for strangers. This is for Israel. It's like you don't want to kill the males of Israel. And what did Pharaoh want to do? Kill all the males. Let me ask you a question. Do you think that there is a concerted effort in modern society to kill Hebrew males today? Do you think that's the case? Concerted effort to kill the Hebrew males. That's how important it is. Don't even touch where the seed comes from. Don't even touch where the seed comes from. That's right. Planned Parenthood, police. Can we say that? Police, Planned Parenthood, police, right? How about jail? How about drug-infested neighborhoods? How about that? How about redlining? How about lack of education? How about building up the sisters so that they say this? Have you ever heard a sister say that? I don't need no man. I don't need no man. Black men ain't no good. I don't need no man. Have you ever heard that? They ain't no good. I don't need no man. That's right. The homosexual agenda. Exactly. That's right. So you see the multiple ways that Asatan is using Babylon to destroy the Hebrew male. And I can say it just like that to the awakened. The unawakened will understand what I just said. Let me say it again. These are the multiple ways that Asatan is using Babylon to destroy the Hebrew males. You got it? But to the Most High, the Hebrew males are so important that if two Hebrews are fighting, he tells the woman, don't you ever touch even your enemy, your husband, that's a Hebrew. Don't touch them family jewels. Don't put your hand on them. That's not for you to be touching. And if your husband die, his brother should raise up an Israelite in his place, in his name. Okay? That's how important the seed is. That's how important the seed is to the Most High. That's when he said, I promise. That's why it's really something when they talk about spiritual Israel. How important was it if a woman was to touch the man's gonads that wasn't her husband? That wasn't her husband. Somebody else's that's an Israelite. Cut off her hand. He said, don't even pity her. That's how important it is. So that the women will understand and the nation would understand. This is how important the male seed is of Israel. How important the male seed is of Israel. What about all of them people and their descendants that cut off the privates of Israelite men and hung them from trees? How about that? How about all them people and their descendants that cut out the privates of Israelite males and hung them from trees, or in the case of Emmett Till, threw him in a river? How about that? How do you think the father of the Israelites will feel about that? Do you think he remembers that? Somebody said, well, I had nothing to do with it. That was my granddaddy. Okay. Better repent then. For you and your granddaddy, you better repent. That's all I'm saying. Look how that, to me, that illustrates how important the male is to Father Yah. How important is he? You can't even touch his jewels. If you are an Israelite woman, do not touch his jewels. If he's not your husband, don't put your hand there, because that's important to the building up of the seed. That's the whole thing here. The royal seed. That's the royal seed. Yeah, that's right. We'll see what happens. But brethren, we can understand now. Babylon, led by Asatan, has an agenda to destroy the Hebrew males. But praise to the Father, in spite of their multiple pronged effort. Now, you guys named them. You guys said Planned Parenthood, the rainbow alphabet agenda, right? We talked about jail. We talked about a substandard education and healthcare. We talked about the diseases, some of which are created. We talked about all of it, and these are just multiple pronged ways to do what? Destroy the Hebrew males. Having the women get to the point where they say, I don't need no man. Black men ain't no good. I don't need no man. I need a man that make $200,000 a year. Because that's what happened. That's what Babylon has done to us. That's what Babylon has done to us. That's the plan. See, we who are awakened understand this is the plan of Asatan. This is Asatan's plan. This is Asatan's plan for us. And why? Because he knows. Asatan well understands an awakened Hebrew male is the start of something that he can't fight against. He can't fight against it. He knows that if Father Yah, that's why you've been getting darkness. You see, when our fathers went into slavery, the whole world was put in darkness, because Father will only give the light of truth through the Hebrews. Messiah couldn't be born of anything outside of the tribes of Israel. And he couldn't send anybody outside of the tribes of Israel to do his work, because it's ordained that the light should come through Israel. It's ordained that way. Okay. And when Israel went into slavery, the whole world went into darkness. The whole world went into darkness. When Israel went into slavery, the rise of Christianity and the rise of the remnants and all of the offshoots was darkness to the earth. And now, praise the Most High, we are awakening out of darkness into the marvelous light of truth that come through from the Father, through Messiah, the line of the tribe of Judah, of the 12 tribes of Israel. We are now awakening to the truth of the light. Messiah say he is the light of the world. That is the truth, and it comes through Israel. No coincidence. And that is what Asatan is scared about. And he's very scared of us right now. He is. We don't have no money, so he's thinking because we ain't got no money, all we need is Father's Spirit, and we good. We just need Father's Spirit. We good. Okay. He will do what he does, because the glory is of Father Yah, is not of man. See, man look at the flesh, Father know the Spirit. That's right. It's after the woman. And what did he do? Maturity approach. He said he went to make war with the remnant of her seed. Okay, he's wroth with the woman, and he went to make war with the remnant of her seed. That's us. That's us. Okay. who have the faith of Messiah, that is, Father's righteousness. That's the faith of Messiah. Praise the Most High. Deuteronomy chapter 25, beginning at verse 13. Going from verse 13 down to from verse 13 down to verse 16. Thou shalt not have in any bag divers weights, great and small. Thou shalt not have in thy house divers measures, great and small. But thou shalt have a perfect and just weight, and a perfect and just measure shalt thou have, that thy days may be lengthened in the land which Yahweh thy Most High giveth thee. For all that do such things, and all that do unrighteously, are an abomination unto Yahweh thy Most High. Now, is it really, again, just like the ox, is it about having different size things in your house? Everybody has different size things in their house. What is it about? It's about being just, like scales of a balance, being equal, right? So in the day when they measured wheat and barley, they measured it in a scale. And you say, okay, if you're supposed to get 100 pounds, you got something weighing 100 pounds, it's supposed to be even. It's not supposed to be like this. It's supposed to be even. So he's saying all that do such things, that deal with unevenness, are an abomination. All that deal with unevenness is unrighteousness, is not balanced. Even in the world's law, the symbol of their law is a scale, and it's supposed to be what? Balanced, because an unbalanced scale shows favor one side or the other, right? So therefore, no, it's a balanced scale. Most High is telling us we should be balanced and fair. Another way of saying that, we should not be respecters of persons. So somebody with a lot of money shouldn't get more respect than a person that's dirt poor, right? But the Bible tells us, obviously, the rich have many friends, but the poor is separated from his neighbor. So he's talking about just weights, and a just balance is of Yahweh. Solomon says that in Proverbs. Just weight and a just balance is of Yahweh, right? So we want to be righteous in all we do. That means we respect all men equally. We treat all men equally. We don't treat somebody unequal because he's a celebrity. But they do that in the earth. They treat people differently. People go running, to a celebrity for just to get a signature. That's respect of persons. That's respect of persons. There's no problem to respect the art form that gives you joy, the art form that gives you pleasure in watching it, the art form that gives you the entertainment value, right? There's no problem in respecting the entertainment value, but we do not need to exalt a person because they are a great artist to a person that's not. In the eyes of Yah, they're the same. And so that as representation of Yah, we should treat them the same. Okay, we should treat them the same. Representation of Yah. Okay, praise the Most High. Now, coming from the royal seed and the importance of the royal seed of Israel and the importance of building up the nation, which in our day, understanding the awakening and the knowledge, comes retribution on the enemies of Israel. Retribution on the enemies. Yes, retribution on the enemies of Israel. What does it mean? Let's take a look. Deuteronomy chapter 25. Deuteronomy chapter 25, beginning at verse 17. Deuteronomy 25, beginning at verse 17. Remember what Abimelech did unto thee by the way when ye were come forth out of Egypt, and how he met thee by the way and smote the hindermost part of thee, even all that were feeble behind thee, when thou wast faint and weary, and feared not Yahweh. Therefore it shall be, when Yahweh thy Most High hath given thee rest from all thy enemies round about, in the land which Yahweh thy Most High giveth thee for an inheritance to possess it, that thou blot out the remembrance of Abimelech from under heaven. Thou shalt not forget it. So I don't know exactly who the Amalekites are today, except we know that the Amalekites come from Esau. The Amalekites come from Esau. Did y'all know that? The Amalekites come from Esau. Let me see if I can find it. The Amalekites come from Esau. Let's see if I can find that for a second. Man, if I could just find that. Yeah, wait a minute. The Amalekites came from Esau. Okay, Exodus chapter 7. I'm looking at Genesis. Exodus 17. Exodus 17. I thought it was in Genesis myself. Let me see here. Exodus chapter 17. Okay. Okay. Exodus 17. I'm going to begin at verse 8. Exodus 17, beginning at verse 8, and then I see a cross-reference for Genesis 36. So let's read Exodus 17, beginning at verse 8, and go from verse 8 down to verse 16, and then we'll look at the history of Abimelech from Genesis chapter 20, from Genesis chapter 36. Because just right, so this is Exodus 17, from verse 8 to verse 16. Then came Abimelech and fought with Israel in Rephidim. And Moses said unto Joshua, choose us out men and go out and fight with Abimelech. Tomorrow I will stand at the top of the hill with the rod of Yahweh in my hand. So Joshua did as Moses had said unto him and fought with Abimelech. And Moses, Aaron, and Hur went up to the top of the hill. And it came to pass, when Moses held up his hands, that Israel prevailed. And when he let down his hands, Abimelech prevailed. And Moses' hands were heavy, and they took a stone and put it under him, and he sat thereon. And Moses and Aaron and Hur stayed up his hands, one on the one side and the other on the other side, and his hands were steady until the going down of the sun. Imagine that, holding your hand up all day till sunset. And Joshua discomfited Abimelech and his people with the edge of the sword. And Yahweh said unto Moses, write this for memorial in a book and rehearse it in the ears of Joshua. I will utterly put out the remembrance of Abimelech from under heaven. And Moses built an altar in the name of it, Yahweh Nissi. That means Yahweh will remember. I think it's Yahweh remembers. He said Yahweh Nissi. Okay. Yahweh is my banner. That's what it says, the translation. Yahweh is my banner. For he said, because Yahweh has sworn that Yahweh will have war with Abimelech from generation to generation. Okay, let's look at Genesis chapter 36. Genesis chapter 36. Okay, yeah, Genesis 36. Here you go. Genesis 36. Okay, yeah, Genesis 36, 1 through 12. Genesis chapter 36, 1 through 12. Okay, Genesis chapter 36, 1 through 12. This is the origin of Abimelech. Now, these are the generations of Esau, who is Edom. Esau took his wives of the daughters of Canaan, Adah, the daughter of Elon the Hittite, and Aholibamah, the daughter of Anna, the daughter of Zibeon the Hivite, and Bashamath, Ishmael's daughter, sister of Nabahath. Now, he had 3 wives, 2 Canaanites, and 1 was Ishmael's daughter. Okay. All right. And let's continue. And Adah bare to Esau Eliphaz. That's going to be an important name, Eliphaz. Eliphaz is the father of Abimelech. Okay. Bashama bare Ruel. No offense, Ruel. They ain't the only ones. And Aholibamah bare Yaush, and Ya'alam and Korah. These are the sons of Esau, which were born unto him in the land of Canaan. And Esau took his wives and his sons and his daughters and all the persons of his house and his cattle and all his beasts and all his substance, which he had got in the land of Canaan, and went into the country from the face of his brother Jacob. For their riches were more than that they might dwell together. And the land there wherein they were strangers could not bear them because of their cattle. So they were strangers in the land of Canaan still, right? Strange 400 years. And the land couldn't bear them. So Esau left. Thus dwelt Esau in Mount Seir. Esau is Edom. And these are the generations of Esau, the father of the Edomites in Mount Seir. These are the names of Esau's sons. Eliphaz, the son of Adah, the wife of Esau. Ruel, the son of Bashamath, the wife of Esau. And the sons of Eliphaz were Teman, Omar, Zephnu, Gatam, and Kenaz. And Timnah was a concubine to Eliphaz, Esau's son. So they had these wives, and then the sons had concubines, of which one was Timnah, and she bare to Eliphaz Amalek. These are the sons of Ada, Esau's wife. So Esau's wife Ada had a son, Eliphaz. Eliphaz had a concubine, Timnah. Timnah and Eliphaz had a son, Amalek. Amalek attacked Israel looking to kill the weakest from the back. Fathers say, forever we're going to have war with Amalek, because Amalek went to attack Israel when it was weak. Wait a second, brethren. Have there been other nations to attack Israel when they were weak? He said, I'm going to blot out their name from under heaven. Are there anybody that attacked Israel while they were weak? Let's take a look. What is the Father? How does he think about that? Jeremiah chapter 30, verse 11. Actually, let me start for the sake of context. I'm going to start at verse 7 and read down to verse 11, 7-11. I'm going to read from verse 7 to 11 of Jeremiah chapter 30. Jeremiah 30, 7-11. Alas, for that day is great, so that none is like it, even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it. For it shall come to pass in that day, saith Yahweh of hosts, that I will break his yoke from off thy neck, and will burst thy bonds, and strangers shall no more serve themselves of him, strangers. But they shall serve Yahweh their most high, and David their king, whom I will raise up unto them. Therefore fear thou not, O my servant Jacob, saith Yahweh, neither be dismayed, O Israel, for lo, I will save thee from afar, and thy seed from the land of their captivity. And Jacob shall return and be in rest and be quiet, and none shall make him afraid. For I am with thee, saith Yahweh, to save thee, though I make a full end of all nations, whither I have scattered thee. Yet will I not make a full end of thee. But I will correct thee in measure, and will not leave thee altogether unpunished. So the nations that fought against Israel, that scattered Israel, that oppressed Israel, they are going to cease to exist. The Babylonian system, as we alluded to earlier, created for one purpose, to destroy Israel and to take over Yah's kingdom, will be annihilated and will cease to exist. But Israel is going to last forever with an everlasting deliverance, the Bible says. And Yahweh is going to be their everlasting word king, and Messiah is going to be the king of this earth, and David's going to be the king in Jerusalem forever. Praise the Most High. So as Amalek is going to be blotted out from under heaven, so are all the enemies of Israel. Father is going to blot them out from under heaven. As Moses held up the rod of Yahweh, the rod that he stretched forth to separate the Red Sea, so we will hold up the word of Yahweh, the word that will deliver us. Praise the Most High. Praise the Most High. Praise the Most High for his truth. See that? That was all from Deuteronomy chapter 25. Isn't that amazing? That was all from Deuteronomy chapter 25, brethren. These be the words. Principles of righteousness. These be the words. Isn't that amazing? These be the words. Yep. Praise the Most High. The word of the Most High. It's precious, man. And so let us continue. Please read your Bible. Pray to your Father in the name of Messiah, who is the representation of Father's righteousness, and that he will guide you in his word, that he will bless you in his spirit, that he will cause you to inherit all that he has for his people to inherit. And of the Gentiles, those that have received this truth of the true Hebrew Israelites, and who the Messiah actually comes from, and who their true people are. And you come to the Father's perfect righteousness, and may he bless you as well. May the Most High bless you and keep you. May he cause his face to shine upon you and be gracious unto you. May he lift up his countenance upon you. Give you shalom. Shalom.